y'all, it's Heather, and I bought the new Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Moonlight Limited Edition palette. I'm so excited. Let's talk about it. I bought my palette from Sephora and it was $68. There are 4 different finishes in this palette. We have a glossy shimmer, a suede satin, a suede matte, and a natural metallic finish. I really like Makeup by Mario's formula, so I'm super excited to see him coming out with new formulas of shadows. Just looking at this palette, I really like that we have light mattes and dark mattes, light non-mattes and dark non-mattes. It gives me like a feeling of versatility. I can create very dramatic looks if I want to using the light and dark shades. I can create very easy, effortless looks using the kind of like mid-tone type shades. I can deepen things up, I can lighten things up. I'm just excited. I really want to test this out. I really want to try it. I am not someone who normally gravitates to cool tones, especially cool tone neutrals. I do feel like it can create really beautiful contrast since I have an olive warm leaning undertone. Something that is opposite can be really, really beautiful rather than super seamless. So I'm excited to create a look that's going to kind of give us some contrast today. I want to zoom you in a bit so we can do the live swatches. We'll do live swatches, we'll do eye swatches, we'll do comparisons, we'll do looks, we'll do it all. I have a little texture on my hand from an allergic reaction, so please ignore that. We'll see how the shadows glide over, but that is a really pretty shade right there. I'll kind of tell you more about the formulas as we put them on my eyes, but look at that. Oh, who doesn't love a good like sparkle shadow? I do. Like, I can't help it. It's so beautiful. We'll put this other shade right here. You can see against my skin tone like how cool these are pulling. But let me swatch this shade right here because these feel really unique in the pan. Like, you can see they're almost like topper-like. I'm gonna reserve my judgment for when I actually get them on the eyes, but they feel very smooth. We'll swatch this one right here. Oh, that's beautiful. That looks really, really smooth. And then we'll put our next shimmer here. I love a sparkle. I love a sparkle. I cannot help myself. It makes me so happy. Let's go ahead and swatch these 2 columns right here before we get into the eye swatches. I'll swatch right over here on this hand. Oh, that is so cool. I'm so looking forward to trying these on the eyes. Look at that metallic. Oh, I love a smooth metallic, y'all. Now this one, I love a dark shimmer. Let's see. Oh, let me see though, because like it's when it hits the light that you're really like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, like maybe at the end I'll have to put some of these toppers on top of like a black base so you can see. But look at this. Are you loving? Are all you cool tone lovers out there freaking out? And then I'm happy to have a pop of blue. There's a reason a pop of blue in a neutral palette is a thing. It's because it's beautiful, right? And then here are the black, or here is the black, I should say. Okay, I'm gonna grab my eyeshadow primer. I'm gonna prime my eyes and we will do eye swatches. I'll bring you in even closer. I really wanna try this dark brown on my eyes first. This is actually shade number 9. I like to put it on with my finger first. So those of y'all who like to apply your shadows with your fingers, you can kind of see the intensity. This shade is described as a matte warm brown. You can see it's pigmented, it's going on easily. It's a dark shade. I want to take it up a little bit so that you can see how it looks when I bring it to my socket, how it looks packed on the lid. I'm not going to worry about blending too much. I just want to blend a little to make sure that like it does blend and it's not just a shadow that goes on the lid and sticks and then you can't move or work with it. And you can see like it blends. It definitely blends, which is exactly what I expect from Mario shadows. This is shade 7. It's described as a shimmering taupe. That's really pretty applied with my finger, but I want to use a brush because I prefer a brush and I think it's really going to show the sparkle. I'm going to blend this up a little higher than normal so that you can really see the sparkle in this one. I did not spray my brush, so I'm getting a little bit of fallout. Nothing too intense. I'm not using a glitter primer, nothing like that. Just my regular eyeshadow primer for this sparkle shadow. This is Mario's new glossy shimmer formula that has like pearls or something in it. And It definitely has that wet look on the eyes. Super duper pretty. Let's do the matte black. This is the 12th shade in the palette. And that is definitely black. Like, that is deep. Even with the brush, this is beautiful. You can see I kind of pack it on close to my lid. And then as we get up into the socket, I'm able to really buff and blend. So that's the sign of a good shadow, when you can like pack on the black and you can blend it out. I mean, it's black, it's intense, it's pretty. I'm able to like work with it. Okay, so there is how the black looks on my eyes. This is shade number 10. It is described as a shimmering gold gunmetal, or golden gunmetal. Isn't that pretty? I'm getting a little bit more fallout because I wanted to use kind of this fluffier brush. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? We'll have to swatch some of these shimmers on a dark base at the end. Like, we'll definitely have to do that because this is really, like, really pretty. Here's shade 11, and it's described as a matte midnight blue. And there is I want you to see these shades on the eyes, the pigment, if they'll move and blend, if they stay stuck, or if they get patchy. But you can see that, right? Right? Like, that's pretty. I actually got to see Makeup by Mario in person. I got to do like a little mini master class of his at Sephora. I will link that vlog in the cards for you if you want to watch it. It was a really amazing time. And when I saw this palette, I was like, no brainer, I'm gonna buy it. Let's swatch the second shade. That's the really light shimmer in the palette. I swatched it again on my hand so you could see. It's gonna show up very light on top of this very light base. This shade is described as a shimmering opal, and I am getting some fallout, but I'm not necessarily like working to avoid it either. Like, I've got a fluffy brush and I'm putting it on so that you can see. I don't necessarily care too much about the rest of my face. I don't think these shadows have like an insane amount of fallout or anything like that. I think it's really beautiful. I really like this new formula from Mario. I think it's beautiful. I hope he keeps this one in rotation, and I like the reflex. I also kind of think at the end, when we're done, when we're doing the look, we'll try this as like a face highlight too and see what happens. Let's go ahead and go in with shade 8. Oh, look how easy that's blending, like just with my finger. I'm not a apply makeup with my finger type of person, especially eyeshadows, and that was like so easy. This is a satin gray. It's probably my least favorite eyeshadow color, but this is a good gray. And for me to like a gray, it has to be really good. And that is just really pigmented and smooth, and I like that. I like that. I can see where my lid is just a tiny bit irritated right here, but that is my lid, not the shadow. Here is shade number 1, the very first shade in the palette. It's light, and it's of course going on top of that light base. This shade is going to be really pretty for a blending color. If you have super light skin, can be like an inner corner highlight for me, or if you're deeper, also a pretty like overall blending color, highlighting color, whatever you want. Mario describes this shade as a satin cream, so we've got 2 satins going on. Here is shade number 3. This one is also really nicely pigmented. This shade is described as a matte mauve brown, and I definitely see that this is like a, on me, remember, things are gonna look cool on me because it's in contrast to my skin tone. So with the warm olive of my skin tone, when I put on a cool shadow like this, it's gonna look more cool because it's less like harmonious with my skin and more of a contrast. So on me, this basically is like a gray, like a gray brown. Here is the 4th shade. Oh, that pigment already. Oh my goodness. Okay, hello. This shade is described as a metallic slate, and I definitely agree with that. Definitely a slate, silvery, almost has like a blue to it, but very deep, very pigmented. I'm into it. Here is shade 5. It's described as a matte gray beige. I like this color. I think it kind of reminds me a bit of like concrete. Very cool toned, but it has that kind of brown to it. Oh, I think that looks nice. Let's put shade 5 right here. Pretty. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I really like this color. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too messy now, but I like that. This is described as a shimmering bronzy gold. Definitely accurate. Now that you've seen all the eye swatches, I want to show you some comparisons to Makeup by Mario's other palettes and another option that I thought of when I saw this one. Looking at this palette next to the Master Mattes, I mean, you can see like the Master Mattes is so neutral, warm leaning compared to this one. There's really no similarities, like there's really not. I mean, I can swatch all the black shades next to each other from Mario, so I can show you that, but first I want to show you the cool tone. Here it is next to his natural mattes, the neutrals. Like you can see the shades aren't repeating, the grays are different, like everything is kind of different, but definitely a more cool version even than this. This is more neutral with some cool shades, whereas this is straight up cool tones. So if you have a cool undertone and you were looking at this, the neutrals palette from Mario, and you were thinking it's really not cool enough, it's a little bit like too in the middle neutral for me, you may really like this one. If you like this palette from Mario, but you don't want to spend the $68, you maybe want a little bit more, I would recommend you look at this palette from Lunar Beauty. This is the Eternal Eclipse palette. This is when I'm going to switch up the eyeshadow base. I wanted to try this palette on something different to see, do the shadows still perform beautifully? I think everything worked so well in the eye swatches, and I feel the same about the look. As I was like blending and layering and just buffing things out and packing things on, everything performed really well. I'm really impressed by Makeup by Mario's eyeshadow quality. Like, I know that I liked his matte palettes that I have. I think those are beautiful. I've done looks with those, I've done reviews on those, and I'm super impressed. So I'm excited about this palette, even though I'm not a cool toned lover. Like, it's not the shades I gravitate towards. I wanted to see how this palette would perform. I wanted to see these new formulas from Mario, and I'm impressed. I really like the way this look turned out. Yes, I do have a little bit of like a messy makeup look going on, so I wanted to keep with that and like do this shimmer. I think this formula is really, really great. If you love Makeup by Mario's palettes, if you have his Master Mattes palette, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all, and I think you're really going to like this new formula from him. It feels very smooth, it feels very topper-like, it's very, very sparkly, and I love the way it like came together for my look today. Very, very impressed with this, and I'm just hoping, like, Mario, please, can I get a palette like this? We can keep it neutral, but can we do golden and olivey warm undertones? Like, please, I am begging you. I would love to see it. I would love to see it, but you know, I love reviewing Makeup by Mario. I love reviewing eyeshadow palettes. I'm constantly reviewing new makeup here on my channel, talking about my favorites, talking about what didn't work. I just absolutely love makeup. I talk about it all day. I would love to hear, are you excited for this Mario launch? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know what else you're excited about. What new makeup is coming out that you want me to review? I would love to hear from you.